Hello, and thank you for giving us another opportunity to spend some time with you on Stairway to Health, brought to you by Health Experts Canada. We've got some great ideas, new information, and hopefully a few laughs for you today. Who knows? If you're not careful, you may learn something.
Welcome, everybody, to Stairway to Health. I'm your host, Frank Peary, along with
Marilyn Mitchell.
And today, Marilyn, we're going to talk about the wide world of supplementation.
Oh, geez.
I mean, it's a big topic, really.
It's huge.
Massive, massive topic. Most people out there today are using supplementation. I think the statistics are just huge in terms of how many North Americans anyway. I imagine it's how many people in the world now are using nutritional supplementation to supplement their diet, right?
Hence the title.
Hence the title. There's an enormous amount of variety and choice in the marketplace, and boy, can it be confusing for the average person.
It's overwhelming.
Absolutely. There's between the different brands, the different types, what's really important, what are you actually lacking or missing?
And then the priority of the consumer, which makes me laugh because they want something that works, but they want it chewable or gummies, and so that they taste good. Well, of course, that just adds sugar and binders and fillers. And so a lot of times the most popular supplements are not necessarily the best ones for you.
No, not necessarily the healthiest option. So you're right. I mean, it used to be that we had a very specific grouping of supplements, like different categories of supplements, and the categories have just broadened over the years. But going back to when I was educated, you had synthetic supplementation, the stuff that is literally man-made. Many people out there may have heard of things like synthetic vitamin E versus natural vitamin E. I mean, that was a big one for decades. And the whole concept of something that is synthetic, something that is man-made, something made in a lab to mimic or work like.
That's exactly the phraseology they use. They say this works like vitamin C in your body.
Right. So synthetic supplementation, I mean, can the body really pick up on it? Does it really understand what to do with it? It's not a natural sourced supplement. So when we talk about a naturally sourced supplement, we're talking about vitamins, minerals, nutrients that are typically gathered from food sources, right? There is a process that the vitamin or the plant has to go through in order to extract the nutrient value and then produce it into a supplement. So it's not that there isn't any processing with a naturally sourced supplement, but then you go one step further and you have something called whole food supplementation.
What's the difference?
Well, a whole food supplement, the way I understand it, and the way we've always been taught and educated to understand it, if you just is very, very bare bones, basic explanation here. But let's say you grow your fresh, organic, whole food fruits and vegetables. You then take them, freeze dry them into a powder, compress them into a tablet. There you have a whole food supplement. Now that whole food supplement is going to have a natural balance of vitamins, minerals, and nutrients to it.
Okay.
And hopefully and preferably it is organic, it's non-GMO, it's fair trade sourced, and you're getting a very, very usable form of nutrition. The body will recognize it as whole food, quote unquote. The body will understand how to digest it, what to do with it, how to process the nutrient value. And therefore you should get a lot more out of the supplement. But I think that then brings us to the next point of where somebody buys their supplementation, right?
Well, I think, and this is my humble opinion, that the supplementation that you're putting in your body is as important as the food that you're buying. So you should be able to buy your supplements somewhere where there is an actual human being that you can ask them about what they have, what this does, where it was made, where the raw materials were sourced from. Because not all vitamin sources are equal. I mean, let's face it, in order to save money, in order to, the bottom line, um, different substances can be put in to make it a little bulkier, if you will, or manipulate it, things like that. So who knows what goes into those capsules or into those tablets? And if you can find somebody that you talk to, they can explain the different manufacturing processes or the different companies, where the companies are manufacturing from. Is it in the country you're living in?
Sure, I get it. Absolutely. And I think it's important to access your information from qualified individuals. I mean, supplementation, nutritional supplementation is, as you said, as important as the food you're putting into your body. So
Absolutely.
if you're interested about where the food is coming from that you're consuming, you should be just as interested in where your supplements are coming from.
Exactly.
And I think, it's also a good way to cut through a lot of the marketing out there. There's so much marketing on supplementation, social media, television, newspapers, magazines. I mean, everybody's trying to flog a nutritional supplement these days.
You can buy supplements anywhere you go. It doesn't matter whether you're in a grocery store, a big box store. You can be flipping through a magazine and it has a little coupon in it that you can mail away. You get them online. You hear them on television. You get them in the radio, like everywhere.
I was in the gas station the other day and they had nutritional supplements on the counter at the gas station. I thought, where is this coming from?
I'm telling you, it doesn't matter where you go.
I mean, fuel for your body, it's a stretch. It's a stretch. But I think too, our audience needs to know very clearly that in the world of holistic nutritionists like us and those of our colleagues, there is a foundation, 6 pillars of nutritional supplementation. They are the 6 most important supplements that every man, woman, and child should technically be using. And they're used from a preventative standpoint, right? If they get started on these foundational products, the idea is that they will be supplementing what their diets are not able to give them. I mean, just think about where your food's coming from these days. Think about the quality of the soil that the food and produce is being grown in. We sometimes mistake the notion that organic is sometimes better than locally grown. And I'd like to challenge that misconception, because I think if your food's being imported from thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of miles away, realistically, how good is that food compared to something that was grown in, let's say, your neighbor's backyard?
Well,
Right.
that's it. Yeah.
So, I mean, these 6 foundational pillars are only meant to supplement what your diet is lacking.
And our diets have changed, even though a carrot is a carrot. My grandmother had carrots and I eat carrots. The nutritional value and the difference between those two carrots is astronomical.
Oh,
Like you said,
from years ago, tens of years ago,
that's right.
decades ago, compared to today.
And decades ago, they would eat seasonal foods. So something that was fresh and there in your yard you had. I remember as a little kid being so excited because strawberry season was coming in and we got to look forward to having strawberries for dessert.
Local strawberries.
I
Love
mean,
them.
they were amazing. But nowadays, if I want in January 21st to have strawberries for dessert, I can go down to my local grocery store and buy some. They're not local, they're from somewhere in the States or any other part of the world, but I can still get them.
Right. And that actually brings up a good point, because when we wrote our very first book, I know we've touched on this before, but when we wrote our very first book, we entitled it Season Appropriate Supplementation, or your I forget the name of our book now, but it was based on season appropriate supplementation,
Yes.
right? The type of supplementation necessary for whatever season it was, based on what we were eating for that time of year and what our bodies required. So nutritional value is very, very important. The need for supplementation is hugely important today. So I don't want to discredit the absolute necessity for nutritional supplementation, but it is important to understand where it's coming from and exactly what it is you need.
And like we said in the book, the seasons, if you're in the summertime in a warm climate and you have all sorts of greens and lettuces and tomatoes and that at your fingertips, you don't necessarily have to supplement a greens product in the dead of summer when you're eating all that.
Right.
But maybe when the snow is flying against your window and you haven't seen anything green other than the cheese in your fridge and the back cooler, you need to have something to get you those greens.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's the way we look at it, right? In the dead of winter, there's going to be specific nutrients that you're deficient in, and therefore you have to supplement. And again, it's about prevention. I think that's something that a lot of people miss. They miss the concept of prevention, preventing disease, preventing future disease, future body breakdown and dysfunction. That's what supplementation was always designed for.
To be proactive, not reactive.
Exactly. We want something that's going to stop us from debilitation.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
right?
it.
Feed our bodies well. So I mean, I hope we made it a little clear when it comes to supplement choices. There are a lot of choices out there, but dealing with a qualified individual when making your decision, I think that's the most important takeaway here. So that's all the time we have for today. I'm Frank Peary.
And I'm Marilyn Mitchell. And until next time, remember, health is wealth. So that's all the time we have today, but there's still so much more to talk about and learn. Head over to healthexpertscanada.com for more ideas on healthy living, and don't forget to like, download, and share this podcast with your friends, just for the health of it.